we meet again. For the first time, for the last time. Hello, you beautiful people. Today, it's just an average Friday. No big deal. Nothing interesting happening. Unless you want to take on the world. Unless you want to set fire to this planet, because I don't know if you heard, there's a little thing called a scam-pocalypse coming. Oh, hell, let's just save the world. Why not? Hello, you beautiful people. Today is day 178 of office hours. I'm Brian Brushwood. Oh, look at this. Hold on. I forgot to do my peekaboo. And we continue our march down memory lane as we're going to check out the latest episode of Scam School. Scam School, that was the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. Scam School is the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. If you're new around here, we're going out live to all 5 of the fandoms. We're talking about Modern Rogue, 1.7 million subs. Scam School, nearly 2 million subs. LinkedIn, X.com, and of course the hardest of the hardcores, the elites, hanging out at twitch.tv/Night Attack. Listen up, people. Yesterday was an awakening. It was a moment for the ages. Now, yes, we do need to learn how to escape from zip ties. Scam School will be of integral port. An integral port. I'm into networking terminology. That's what's going on. An integral port of the upcoming fusion of ideas. Scam School is going to be an important integral part of everything that we do going forward. So, of course, we got to check it out. But I got news, because there's a pivot coming, and it's a big one, and it's long overdue. But first, we're going to watch the zip tie escape. Scam School, episode 76. Yeah, 76. Here we go.
What's better than knowing how to open a locked door? Nothing. This episode of Scam School brought to you by the National Fight Against Drunk Driving. Over the limit, under arrest. Welcome to the only key guaranteed for chastity belts, Scam School, the only show dedicated to social engineering at the bar and on the street. I'm your host, Brian Brushwood, and we are back with another Dan Martin special. This time we're going to do some breaking and entering, we're going to do some escapes, we're going to be having fun with zip ties. All right, Dan, so far we've learned what? We've learned how to escape from handcuffs, how to get out of thumb cuffs, how to break and enter with, what, padlocks, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay, what else? I mean, is there anything else the police use that we haven't corrupted yet?
Probably something maybe a little bit more, I don't know, organic.
Okay, like non-mechanical, you mean?
Not mechanical, nothing metal, something that's cheap for everyone to use.
Zip ties.
Zip ties.
And this is good too, because I'm betting a lot of Scam School fans don't have the money or the inclination to get handcuffs or thumb cuffs.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fun, cheap. You may have them around your house, in your garage somewhere, or you can get them at the local Home Depot, Lowe's, or whatever.
Now, these are the ones, like when somebody gets trashed at a concert, they don't bother to put them in handcuffs, they just go ahead and
They're doing
zip
so
them.
many people, so they have them standing, they zip them, they zip them, they zip them, done.
And again, not that we're advocating escaping from the police.
Absolutely not.
But
never.
You were saying, you're gonna get me in so much trouble. You were saying that there's a way to actually escape from a zip tie.
There is.
And when you told me that, first thing I thought it was like, oh, you keep a knife on you and you just cut your way out or something.
And obviously you can do that, but odds are they probably took your knife, or even if you're doing this for a friend or a joke, which is probably the best way of doing this, they're going to check you to make sure that you have no knives or scissors or anything like that.
And that's the other thing, is the first thing I thought of when you told me the setup was I thought, oh, we'll use the shim like we did for the handcuffs.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can actually do that, because if you look in here, there's like a little nubbin plastic piece.
That's the tooth that goes...
The tooth, absolutely. And that's what grabs these little plastic rivets in here.
Okay, but you're saying without any kind of shim, without any kind of toothpick, without anything.
Without anything. And you could use a paper clip like we did with the handcuffs.
Right.
But without anything.
All right, prove it. How do they,
they
just
typically
put them out?
Behind your back. Well, let's make it fair. They cross your arms.
Okay.
Like that.
All right.
Okay, and that's exactly how we'll do it. And they just cinch them.
Okay. All right, now that's not even that tight though.
Oh, it's not that tight?
Well, no, I'm not saying to make it, I'm just saying like that seems like about what they would do is...
Yeah, and if you notice, it's digging in your skin, it's actually pinching.
Yeah. Okay, I lied. Apparently it is tight. Son of a... Okay, that's not comfortable. And
Okay,
I do see that. The only thing I could think of is to use your teeth or something to get at the nub. I don't know.
And if you can use your teeth to get into the nub, you get a spot in my show. But what happens is if you do, you'll end up pulling it tighter.
Yeah, okay,
So,
that's a good point.
So let's cut you out of these bad boys here,
All
so
right.
you don't.
Remember the white-pink rule. There we go.
There you go.
Good. Look at that. That just dug in,
It
you weren't
digs
even
in.
mad.
No, I wasn't really even mad. Now the ones that law enforcement or people may use on you have like a rubber Teflon coating.
Okay.
You can use those if you want. You don't have to.
Right.
So.
If
That's
you're just
that.
trying to impress your friends or you know,
Best
an
way to do
idiot
it.
at the
This
bar,
is
right?
great to do at a bar, great to do with friends at a party. This
Okay.
is so awesome.
All right, let me try it. What do I have to do?
Okay, let's do it on me.
Okay.
So you get to be
Officer Angry?
Officer Angry.
Yeah, that's right.
So
All
good,
right, son.
Good cop or bad cop?
We're gonna the cop that's on the take. That's me.
So let's
All right,
get it in there.
wait,
real
wait.
tight.
Oh my God. Okay, that is
Okay.
tight.
And you
Look
see
at that.
it's digging in my arm. You
What
see my
does the
veins?
other one look like?
It's just as bad. It's cutting in.
You got a little butt right there.
So here's the deal. I will go under the pool table
Okay.
and
Get
Just
out.
like that.
Come on, dude.
no scissors, no paper clips, nothing to pick them, and it's still locked.
All right, that's pretty good. I do want to know that. And I assume you're going to make me buy you a drink before you give up the goods?
Absolutely.
All right, before we do though, you said that there's actually, not only can you escape from them, you said you can actually commit crime. You can do breaking and entering with one of these zip ties.
You can, and typically I would recommend breaking and entering if you get locked out of your own house.
Right.
Which happens on nights coming home from the bar.
Of course.
So let me show you here. Let's use a door.
All right.
There's a bunch of doors. Which door do you want to use?
We got there we go. We locked the midget bathroom here
Of
at the bar.
destiny.
Of destiny.
All right, so let me see here. It is locked. I'm not going to use any picks. I'm going to use.
All right, yeah, show your hands. Make sure I don't want to. No picks.
Nothing
Okay,
funny.
all right.
I'm only going to use this little zip tie here.
All right.
And let me get in here to see if I can.
I'm purposely not looking because I want it to be a mystery when I figure out how you did it.
And if you look,
Get out.
the door is now open.
And you really did. You pinky promise. You didn't bust out a lockpick or nothing.
No, just a simple zip tie. And
All right.
the door is actually still locked.
Okay,
so
okay.
You can close it. Someone else can't get back in.
All right, that's pretty good. And I will buy you 2 drinks for the 2 answers.
2.
2 drinks. I'm feeling generous today.
Wow, love scam school. This
yeah.
is great.
Believe it or not, there are still people who do not understand that drugs, alcohol, and driving do not mix. The message is simple, guys. Drinking and driving, over the limit, under arrest. Don't put yourself and others in danger. Law enforcement is going to be out in crazy force all over the country from August 21st through Labor Day weekend, and they are cracking down on drunk
Crazy
drivers.
force.
Beyond putting your own life at risk, you're going to cost yourself
I've
a
said this
bundle
before,
of
but it's
time
so
and money.
wild to me that
You
all
can
of
still
these
go out and have
crazy
fun and
visuals,
plan ahead. If you're gonna drink designated
they,
driver, call a taxi, use mass transit,
they would
or
just
find some
scream
kind of
AI,
silver
but they
ride
weren't
program.
AI back at the
best
time.
part is you can use your scam school skills to get
I
somebody else
do.
to
As a
pay
matter of
for
fact,
it.
Cliff, my daughter steals them all. Here we go.
We're going to do this in the front, just like we did before, what I did to you and what
All
you
right.
did to me.
Right.
So here's the deal. This is very similar in feeling to the whole thumb cuff thing that we did in that previous episode.
Okay.
So what you do is you hold your wrists together just like this. Now, most of the time when you tell people to hold out their hands, they hold them down flat.
Right.
Just like
that's
this.
Well, that's what I did. I just crossed one over
Absolutely.
the other.
And when you do that and you zip them, it's hard. Your wrist bones start locking together. It hurts. It starts cutting in. You
Super
stop.
tight.
Super tight. What I did is like this. What happens is it makes your wrist a little bit thicker
Okay.
in order to actually slip out of these. Very similar to
So
the
you
thumb
did
cuffs.
okay. So yeah. So it was just like the thumb cuffs. It was something where it wasn't like you puffed up your wrists, but it's like you made it bigger
Than
so
what
that
it
your-
actually is.
Right.
And there's a few little nuances that actually make that happen. So watch. I put the twist tie on. Now that's step 1. As I'm cinching it up, all you're doing is sliding your hand up a little bit more in the same thing.
to the fattier parts.
Yeah, and so wherever my hands are blocking, that's the hand you slide up.
Okay.
Right to the fattier parts, just like that.
Okay.
So when I cinch it, and I say, is this tight?
Right.
It is, and then you start pulling your hands apart.
Okay.
In a twisting motion, showing it's digging into your skin. So by actually using more of your forearm than your wrist,
Right.
you're good to go.
No, that's
So-
good. That does. It looks super tight.
Yeah, so now what happens, you unbend your hands,
Okay. And then
Almost
go
in a prayer position.
Go to the narrow one.
Right.
Okay.
And you just, honestly, you just wiggle out.
Yeah. And you were saying something about it's important to get the knuckle.
Get your
all the
thumb
way
out
up.
first. That's your goal. Get your thumb, knuckle out first. And if you need to use your teeth, slide your teeth up a little bit. Who cares?
My teeth.
You're gonna do this under cover of a jacket, or if you don't have a pool table, someone's shirt or someone's hat. And once your thumb is out, you are home free.
Yeah, that's the stuff. And you get these lovely burns there too. All right, that was pretty good. That was pretty good. But the one that I had never seen before was how he used one of these to get actually inside the locked door. That one I thought was really cool.
Yeah, you know, and this is actually comes in handy. Obviously, we don't really condone breaking and entering here, but it's one of those things where I've gotten locked out of my house before, and nothing looks worse than someone that does what we do.
An escape artist.
And I get locked in my own house. So I had one of these on me from a show.
Yeah.
And I thought, how can I do this? Now, if you notice about locks and doors, they go on a slant to catch right in the door jamb right there.
Right.
Okay? So what you do is you actually just want to pull this back, almost like the ratchet of a handcuff, so it clearly opens. And how you do that is bend the twist tie.
Okay.
So it's on an angle. And you can see where the latch is. It's going in there.
Yeah,
and
there's enough of a gap.
And most doors out there have some sort of a gap where you could at least fit this in, or even a wire, or even a string, or
Okay.
even a coat hanger. For
Like,
example.
it seems like a wire might be a little bit better because it'd be thinner, but this one.
You can use a wire or a coat hanger, and all you're doing is sliding it in there, just like this. And when that bend hits, it's gonna pop out.
Okay.
Just like that.
Okay, so like if you were to pull now.
So hold the doorknob.
Okay.
Pull the doorknob.
Oh, I
and
have to be pulling.
that's it.
awesome.
Right there.
All right, let me try.
And the door stays locked.
All right, hold on. We gotta wait for it. So you just what you
Here, so yeah, you have a little curve in the
Slide
twist tie.
okay.
And as you're feeding it along, one end will eventually pop out. You want to make sure you have
there
the
it
best.
is.
Perfect. Now hold the doorknob in your other hand.
Yeah.
And pull.
Pull on the
both.
door and this, and then and the mystery of the ancient mop is revealed. This isn't a tiny person's bathroom at all. As always, we want to thank Dan Martin for all of his expertise. Make sure to head on over to martinmagic.com to see more of Dan. By the way, if you have any questions on the stuff you've seen here, I want you to post them at the boards at revision3.com/scamschool. If you want to suggest your favorite bar scam or trick, write me directly at brian@revision3.com. You can get updates on future Scam School episodes at twitter.com/scamschool and follow my adventures all over the United States at twitter.com/schwood. Now don't forget, next week we're going to have a professor who's going to mathematically prove that E equals MC Hammer. But first, I got to get back to the bar.
OMG. First of all, man, let's start with this part. I keep noticing this on those credits. Oh, shoot. There we go. Check this out. At the bottom, you can see that they didn't line up. You got that gap right there. And then it goes down and it fixes, but then they have a keyframe where it goes back up again, and then it goes back down. That little artifact. I also caught a cameraman arm at, let's see. I think it was around here. No. Oh well, it doesn't matter. At one point I saw a cameraman arm. I thought that this was pretty good pacing. The opening doors with a zip tie, I thought would be kind of like hackneyed or light, but it's like in this format where you want to introduce people simply to the idea of how to open a, privacy door lock on there. Ultimately, we later revisit exactly the same method with Deviant Olaf on the Hotel Hacking Havoc episode later on. Let's see. Y'all did latch slipping, which only works with dead latch, is not engaged. The circle next to the latch, which are 90% of the door, and blah, 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 blah. Look, dude, what do you want in 120 seconds? What do you want in 120 seconds of casual conversation? Because you and I both know this is a rabbit hole, and for everything, there's a well actually on the other side of it. You're correct. There are many different types of locks, and there are many different ways. But we begin by going from 0 to 1. And for that, you need to take somebody who has no idea how locks work at all and cannot conceive of an item like this being used to get into a door. And so we go from 0 to 1 and demonstrate that it can be done. From there, we get to build on that. And indeed we do. Over the next 600 plus episodes of Scam School. And yes, we eventually get to exactly what you're talking about, but not on lesson 1. Oh, did you see the arm? Yeah, I hope it's an arm. Did you guys see it? Yeah, I did attempt to calibrate. I don't think my mouth wrote any checks that I couldn't cash, except for the use of the aged out term midget. Whoa. That was an artifact of the time. I think I said tiny person, which is still not at that. Nowadays, the preferred is little person, although there's a pushback against that language, right? The meta, it's always changing. Yeah, good one, Curtis Hoffman. I actually forgot the punchline on that. Yeah. Indeed, there will be no tipping of fedoras here. Said with all affection and love. There's nothing like seeing your front door lock on Lockpicking Lawyer. Yeah. All right, hold on. Let me adjust this, and then we'll get on with our game. For those of you guys who are new here, these episodes were all dumped all at once in the beginning of the channel. The channel launched with the back catalog. Some of them got discovered, some of them did not. The ones that got discovered got to 1.5 million views or so. Some of them in the hundreds of thousands. Some shockingly low. What's the lowest one that we had? I think it's 7.6 thousand. By the way, look at that long shot. I'm a really big fan of deep cavernous shots in this age where every YouTube video it looks like this. You're inches away from a backdrop. It makes me very happy for a sense of depth and scale. That's awesome. Look at that. Get your votes in. Hold on, let me get the, biocow.com/YouTube guesses? biocow.com/YouTube guesses. So you can just click on that guess the view count. There we go. Magic One suggests 23,000 views. Kuro Metariku says 200,000. Sixter 4147. 4157 says 64,500. BioCow says 43,987. Curtis Hoffman 6956 says 30,000. Bantarat says 124,000. G. James B says 43,000. And the actual number of views is... Oh, you've all overbid if we were playing by Price is Right rules. Cliff said 21. I don't know if he meant 21,000 or not, but if you meant 21,000, that would be over too. The actual number of views... Actually, I think Cliff got it either way. No, maybe Magic 51 got it if we're going by closer. The actual number is 17,000. That's a reasonable base hit for that time. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised by that too, Kuramendariku. Especially it was called Zip Tie Escape, so you would think that it would show up I'm now at an interesting low level of paranoia where I wonder if everything is hyper-located. Like, given the number of videos that are being uploaded to YouTube every day, I'm surprised that more combinations of words aren't already taken. Like, how to escape zip ties. So in this case, maybe these are just recommendation full stop. Yeah. Oh, wait. Well, then there's us right now happening. So this is a recency bias that is showing up right now. Uh-huh. That's amazing. You search for something like your stuff, but like zip tie escape doesn't show up. So maybe it's just, oh, now this one later, spoiler alert, 6 ways to escape from handcuffs, zip ties, and duct tape, 7.3 million. Oh, and then finally zip tie escape. So it's, yeah, it makes sense if there's other stuff that's more proximate, ready to rock. Yeah. Yeah, Charles, there's a really good video that I would play, except for he's in the middle of having it blow up. But basically, it points out that the algorithm is, at least nowadays, is now mature enough where it cares not about the specific words that you're looking for. It now, functionally, in an era of tokenization and machine learning, it essentially understands the meaning behind things, the thoughts behind it. So now, two videos that have the same title can mean wildly different things depending on the context, and they will get tokenized wildly differently. And the machine learning matching will take somebody who's not even asking the question. Before the human even searches for a thing, they're just kind of clicking their way closer to it. And then there's a predicted path that leads them to, look, I can tell you're circling around and eventually you're going to get to this one and I'm going to serve it up to you and it's going to be exactly what you want. And so likewise, titles kind of matter less. And in fact, also it used to be that click-through rates and watch times were all that matters. And that was true in the very, very beginning. But now, like, again, vibes and potential audiences matter. For example, oh, here, let's do this. By the way, congratulations. Who was the winner? Matt York asked 16,000. Ah, look at that. I missed that right at the beginning. Good job, Matt York. Congratulations. And you go in the Hall of Fame. Where is the Hall of Fame? Latest results. Ah, there we go. Yeah, that's great. Anyway, let's do this. If we look at last night's Monorogue, or a couple nights ago's Monorogue episode, it's actually in the middle of being pushed really hard, despite the fact that it's got a quirky title that I think is engaging, but mainly, we got another episode in the hopper. Nice. We got a Josh Nass one coming. There we go. So in this case, like, it's just a good video. Nobody's unsubscribing. And even though watch time is lower than usual, which is bad, click-through rate is not super great. 3.4 is pretty low. But then again, with a lot of subscribers, it's going to push to a lot of people. And yet the impressions, it keeps on pushing, mainly because it's got a congruency and overlap in the interests. And there's a number of adjacent fandoms that are really digging it. So it keeps on pushing it. But in the meantime, I'm going to keep, in fact, it's time to choose 33.5, 39. that title really seems to pop. This is how you make a kaiju scream. So it looks like between creating a kaiju symphony with dry ice and this thumbnail is the lowest. This is how you make a kaiju scream with the same thumbnail is the highest, which suggests that the difference, because we have one title test and one thumbnail test, so it seems like what I should do is set this, lock it in, and then start another test. New test. And then we'll flip it to, there we go. Title, I guess we'll do thumbnail only. There we go. Where is, oh goodness, it's not here. Oh no. Okay. Well, here, I'll have to do it on this other computer. Sit tight, beautiful people. There we go. Let me just run this to close the loop on this. Here, I'll let you guys whiteboard it up in the meantime. Oh, 1 second. Sit tight. All right, setting up a new test with the kaiju scream. Changing only the thumbnail. Going to downloads. There we go. And this, there we go. Set the test, save the test, and now we can look over here. There we go. Okay, so now we've got a test of the exact same things, except there we go. So now we're only testing thumbnails, which is good for at this point. Which now frees us up to, yeah, welcome to typing hours. Sorry about that. You ran out of codex credits? Oh no, rigged. Yeah. Okay, so cool. We'll go done. We'll peek in. Oh, we got to pick another all-star for the Scam Nation channel. Yeah, I guess we should go ahead and I don't know how to put it. Not so much announce a thing, but just tee you guys up. Guys, that article yesterday, that tweet thread of the dude where it was the full package of what I've been predicting for the scam apocalypse was a real eye-opener. So buckle up. If you're not on the email list, get on the email list. That's sign up at scamstuff.com. Yeah, let's go there. Sign up. Because I'm about to do a very big pivot. Note for note, like this is as close. Did you ever see the documentary Starship Troopers? There's a moment when the bugs blew up Buenos Aires, and everybody dropped everything to enlist. That's what yesterday felt like to me. It felt like, hey, Brian, 3 years ago you had a feeling. 2 years ago you gave it a name, started calling it a scampocalypse. 1 year ago you saw the FBI data that looked an awful lot like a hockey stick graph. Let me see, when did that come along? YouTube scampocalypse. When did I say that? Yeah, look at that. Last year, the scampocalypse is coming. 8 months ago. Projected to be 40 billion in just 2 years. So you gave it a name, and you started telling people that you needed to do something. And so what did you do? You went to every convention that you could last year, and you just immersed yourself in the raw feed, asking, what do you hear? What are you doing? And then that was when you noticed that the way magicians handle these things is different than the way the security world does. So you began to work on the solution. If scampocalypse is the problem, simply stated, long before we find out whether or not we're headed towards Skynet or Wall-E, where the middle road step is, I need an easy metaphor. Bad guys have robots. The bad guys have robots. And because of that, fraud's going to be insane. Because of the shame gravity well, nobody's going to want to talk about it. We are looking at nothing short of a need to rewire our own brains about how we think about trust, safety, security, our information diet, and what we do and don't take responsibility for. Most of us are sleepwalking through this, and it makes sense. During the lockdown, we trained everybody on this planet to believe and accept that Zoom calls were high fidelity modes of communication, and we're finding out that they are not. It's going to take time to pivot back to old school 1960s styles, in-person conventions, meetups, gatherings, because the number one thing that we need is a shared reality. So most people don't even know about the problem, haven't even gotten to the next level of wanting to know what the solution is. So I keep waiting for other people to hear what I expect to see coming. I am not at all surprised by any of these stories, and they're writing themselves at this point. So it seems like out of everything I can do is first of all, part of the reason that I've started doing these live streams is to get my muscle memory back, to get a good mental understanding of how to create high quality productions very, very quickly. The ability to move fast to get word out about urgent and important things. That's what you guys have watched me do over the last 18 months. Everything from rebuilding the studio to rethinking what jobs need to be done very well, which ones we can accept B- effort from robots, knowing that good robots are eventually going to be excellent at it down the road. We're at the cusp. We're at a crisis moment because just as I've been running as fast as I can to take care of all of these, to prep for this moment, you better believe the bad guys. And by the way, the bad guys, anybody with a difference, anybody 3 orders of magnitude away from Americans, the shortest path to wealth for them is going to be to scam Americans or civilized Western society, whatever, pick your middle class tier of humans. It's wonderful that the bottom billion and rogue state actors, it's wonderful that the bottom billion have doctors. It's wonderful that rogue bad guy actors no longer need to rely on human trafficked slave labor for their romance and crypto scams. But the flip side of that is the shortest path to money is going to be to scam Americans. Everybody is under indexing for the pressure on, I'll say Americans, but I understand we have a lot of international audience. If you're here, it's very likely that you are a couple orders of magnitudes touching more money than other folks would have, which makes you a tasty target. We are under indexing for the amount of pressure coming at us. We are under indexing for the level of exposure that we have in our training. We're not perceiving the threat as strong as we should. We are not prepared for the threat as strong as we should. And we are way under index on being informed about the threat. So the three things we need to do. We need reports from the front lines. We need up to the minute reports on how much worse it's getting, how fast. We need to notice the patterns in between. We need strategic insights. So along with that, we can be planning how we train our minds. And this used to be maybe an enterprise class level problem. No, it's a problem in your battlefield of your mind. And so we are going to have to rethink what we do. So before I start selling the solution, which I believe is wolf masking, we've talked about that. Wolf masking is one half of it. Everything everybody's doing right now is the structural part, the bones. That's necessary but not sufficient. The other half is the internal game, the reps, the training, the effortlessness to see a threat coming in and to recognize your own cognitive biases. That's the third part, is we got to rethink our own relationship with our own minds. You guys have heard me talk about System 2 versus System 1. We're now establishing our relationship with System 3, with all of these robots that we're able to externalize parts of our cognition. It's great for extroverts like me who want to talk things out, ping pong ideas, kind of see what comes out of my face, and then reflect on it. So with all of that in mind, I can't go to the front lines and become a war correspondent and also be have my primary method of making money to sell trick decks of cards. So I am prepping a direct subscription model for a hybrid of audio, video, and written stuff. This is going to be the most interesting, important thing I've probably done in my entire life. This is at minimum a 5-year arc, very likely for the next 10 to 20 years. But it's all going to begin with an announcement on the email list. So if you are not on that email list, head on over to signup.scamstuff.com. Oh, there it is right there. Signup.scamstuff.com. I shouldn't have done that one. There we go. Let me do it this way. Papa. There we go. And get on that email list or drop me an email, brian@schwa.com, if you want to hear more. It's going to be a big deal. It's and a very exciting deal too. I think you guys are really going to like the type of content and the direction that it goes. Let's see. Brian would be Steve Carell's character in The Big Short. I have to see. I still haven't seen The Big Short. I really should. I haven't sent the email out, Charles. I've got some setting up to do. I got to figure out how to midwife all this. That's what I'm going to do today. Oh, Sixter 4157. Will you do me a favor? Stories like that. In fact, here, I'll go ahead. I just registered this. If you guys have any tips for stories, look at this. Oh, dang, I did it again. Don't do that. Let's do this. I just got a Gmail. Scampocalypse@gmail.com. Send me all, you guys are going to see a bunch of these interesting stories. Just send them to me. That's the tip line. Scampocalypse@gmail.com. I'm about to become a war correspondent. In fact, look at this. And by the way, if you're wondering whether or not Brian has a track record of being right, may I remind you that Brian and Tom Merritt started a show about a cord-cutting revolution before a cord-cutting revolution happened. We covered it. We started reporting on a thing that didn't exist yet. We watched it come in. We reported on it while it happened. And then we reported on the death and the end of it. And now we report on what do we do now that came and went. That, I expect, with high confidence, is exactly what I'm going to do with the Scampocalypse project. So be ready. You're going to want this invitation. Send your tips to scampocalypse@gmail.com. Sign up for the current email list at signup.scamstuff.com. Oh, no. Oh, Scampocalypse. There we go. Scampocalypse@gmail.com. Thank you, BioCow. Yeah, it really is. It's a few. Some of you guys know Brian as smart, thinky, talky Brian. Some of you know Brian as dipshit, magic trick Brian. Guess what? They're all the same Brian. This is really the project that's going to fuse all of them together. What was the cord-cutting revolution? Che, here in America, all of the good channels were on cable. We had broadcast television, which was just 3-4 networks. And then we had cable. Cable got deregulated in the 1970s, and it became this massive boom of all the highest quality content. But along with it, they had to physically install a cable to your house, which that was a lot of infrastructure costs. So to recoup those costs, here in America, they had extremely onerous contracts. It was very difficult to get out. Everyone hated their cable company. Everybody hated the constantly increasing rates. Everybody hated paying for channels that they didn't watch. And then the internet came along, and the internet didn't have the bandwidth at first to do video on demand, but as it could, there was a wave of piracy, and then there was a wave of attempting online 1.0 stuff, and back and forth. But the core thing that was obvious to us, me and Tom, was that we were headed towards a place where there's no way this can stand. And so we reported on the Internet Quarterly Reports where we would read tea leaves. The cable companies would claim one thing or say this, and we would say, okay, you got to say this for this reason to satisfy these guys. Expect this 6 months from now. By and large, we had an astonishing track record of being right. In fact, that'd be a fun project, is to set a robot to find out how many predictions I did that are correct. Yeah, I look forward to that. At any rate, that's what Cord Killers nowadays is about. What do we do now that we can have anything we want? It's just all in somewhere out in the wasteland. So now we focus on how do you find the good stuff. But that'll be the same thing on Scampocalypse. Scampocalypse is, right now, there's going to be a lot of fascinating stories of who gets got and who's admitting or not admitting who got. Who's covering it with PR spin? What does it really mean? We're in the best version of this, just Robert Young, to be honest, I really just want to model what he's done with politics. Politics, he calls balls and strikes. He's not there to tell you who to vote for. He's just going to tell you who's going to win and why. And part of his excellent reporting is that because he was fully independent and because he built a system that could be incredibly nimble, he's able to go out on the road and do crazy things that journalists don't do anymore. Stuff like go and interview people boots on the ground at these conventions, not in managed events, but actually with the randos out there. And so he gave a unique perspective. Likewise, there's an incredible need for that in the rethinking security and AI space. And that's what I've been working on for the last 2 years to get to, is an incredibly nimble way to get out there and do all this stuff. Charles Rubach says, predicting the cord-cutting revolution was pretty wild. Cable seemed too big to fail, just like Blockbuster and other industries that have come and gone. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. In an alternate timeline, I was very wrong about this scampocalypse. I was just somebody being hysterical. Instead, we're in the timeline where in just the last 2 weeks, FBI released their new data saying that, yes, Brian was right. The problem is getting worse. In fact, we're inventing a new category of crime in order to catalog it. And on top of that, On top of that, there's exactly patient zeros of exactly the things Brian speculated for a long time. So that was a big download. But the important part is y'all are going to go to signup.scamstuff.com and send me your tips at scampocalypse@gmail.com. And by tips, I mean stories like this one. Let's do this. News. Man impersonated 30 years. Psych? Is that what it is? Boy, I didn't even think about stuff like cyber stalking and whatnot. When the bad guys have robots, that's brutal. There you go. Check this out. This dude had somebody steal his identity for 30 years and then gaslight him all the way into getting him committed into a prison. Impersonated, imprisoned, and sectioned. Man gets his identity back after 30 years. When William Woods met Matthew Kierans in 1988, he had no idea he would have every aspect of his life taken from him. Oh no, this is behind the paywall. Well, this story will be one of the first ones. This dude had his identity stolen, and then the other guy said, no, I'm the real one. Have him committed. And he had him committed. The dude went to jail. These, so many horrifying, interesting stories. If you like World's Greatest Con exists outside of time. Very rarely do we do anything present tense. The Scampocalypse will be through many modalities, covering present tense stories in an emerging real-time landscape. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be good. Spoiler alert. Here's the thing I'm not going to say in the email, but I'll tell you guys. There's going to be an opportunity to be a founding member. My ability to do really interesting things will be directly proportional to the level of buy-in on those founders. Hopefully, I have a good track record with you guys of keeping promises. As this Founders Club plaque will attest. Hopefully, we'll see. But that's a terrifying time because this is also a time. We've talked a little bit about how Patreon is in the middle of changing everything. We took a big leap when we went independent. Me, Tom Merritt, Justin Robert Young. And luckily, it was at the right time with Patreon. For a long time, Patreon supported us on a per creation basis. The more podcasts we put out, the more patrons were able to pay us. But they want to take all of those pledges and reduce them down to a monthly amount. And when that happens, basically somebody was like, give me $1 an episode or $2 an episode. That's going to become $1 a month or $2 a month. And yes, technically all of them can decide to go give more money. But as we all know, these are, you make a pledge and you set it and forget it. And you live your life and it makes a huge difference to the artist. But you notice the $1 to $8, whatever it is, not at all. Or if you do notice, you reflect on, even if you're not watching the content, like spoiler alert, I don't think I've watched an Ali Spagnola video in a few years, except for ones I'm in. Never once have considered pulling my patronage because I love that the world is a more interesting place, knowing she's out there making it more outrageous. There's a lot of folks like that who support a thing and God bless them, they make it possible for us to make the content for you guys. But all of that's going to change this year because Patreon is making that change, which means all of the financing needs to be rethought. So it's a good time to make a big pivot, and it's going to be a fascinating time. Matt York says, can't wait for the episode of World's Greatest Con in like 20 years about all the stuff you've been talking about for 20 years. Speaking of which, If you're a patron over at patreon.com/greatestcon, what do we have here? What might we have right here? Well, hello. Hold on.
This is World's Greatest Con. I'm Brian Brushwood.
You know why people add water to scotch? It's not to dilute it. It's to get it to open up, to know it better. Modern understanding is that high alcohol concentration suppresses certain aromatic compounds. But when you add a little bit of water, volatile compounds become easier to detect, especially the phenols associated with the smoky notes or the esters associated with the fruity notes. At high concentration, ethanol can dominate the whole sensory experience. Whatever story the drink's trying to tell is lost under that burn signal. When you add water, it reduces that masking effect. In other words, adding just a few drops of water can make the smell of whiskey more expressive, which changes how that whiskey is perceived before you even taste it. Now, smell is a special sense. Smell is the only sense that travels directly into parts of the limbic system, including the amygdala, your so-called lizard brain, and the hippocampus, the part that connects smells to memory. And once your brain knows the lay of the land, it begins making connections between what you're feeling and other moments in your life. Smell is your bridge to that furnace in the first house you remember, your last family vacation before you left home, your first kiss. Consciously or unconsciously, you now have a relationship with this drink. And all of that happens deep inside your brain before the booze even hits your stomach. Is it any wonder that people form such a personal relationship with their favorite whiskeys and scotch? Tribes, if you will. Now compare that experience to a shot of whiskey. The difference between the pomp and circumstance given to the tasting notes on a glass of scotch compared to the working class ritual of a shot slammed back. I mean, don't get me wrong, people love a shot. But remember, you're playing with an entirely separate set of brain chemistry. First, there's the alcohol itself. Your brain instantly reads that as important. That alone can trigger the reward system in anticipation of the warm glow that comes after. But this is the part that says, yo, pay attention. But just as important is that burn. Hot, sharp, chest-kicking sensation. It's not really flavor in the poetic sense, but more your body registering this chemical irritation. Long before you're even picking up the notes of caramel or smoke, your brain's already dealing with heat, intensity, impact. That feeling of a shot burning down your throat, that's how I want you to think of a short con. Primal, exciting, immediate. Short cons like the white van scam we talked about in the very first episode of this program are all about the excitement, the feeling you get when your brain believes you're about to get a reward. Here it comes, boys. The immediacy is why the short con artists has to create a crisis or an opportunity. There needs to be a vanishing window for you to make the most out of it. Like that shot, it's gotta be right now, set up, reward, let's go. Meanwhile, a long con is something else entirely. I want you to think of a long con as that opened up scotch. A long con tickles at the edge of your memories, awakens something in you that you need to sit with in order to get the full effect. The kind of emotional triggers that beg your brain to connect this situation to others in your life. In a long con, the less you say, the better. All those half-remembered associations, that's just more room for the mark to tell themselves their own story. That's when you invent a reason to profit. It's the mark who figures out how they can pay you. But it never really feels like we're lying to ourselves, does it? We certainly don't notice it, just like we don't notice that we're making friends with that glass of scotch. It just happens. Somewhere beneath the threshold of cognitive awareness. Oh no! I guess you guys have to go get the new episode of World's Greatest Con to figure out where that's going. Yeah, man. It's a good one. It's a really good one. I listened to the final take last night, and it's primo. All right, gang. I'm going to wrap it up. I got to get work done. I will catch you guys in the morrow. It'll either be a later or earlier office hours than usual for a Saturday. I don't know. We'll see. Oh no, I didn't get to the comments. I'll answer them off air. Instead, we had a good discussion about the future of everything. All right, beautiful folks. I'll see you guys.